today I want to tell you about the cool things one can do with the whole topic of data analytics, and also with the whole topic in the context of digitalization. We at IMWIND, we are an Austrian-based company. We started like 3 years ago with a service partner called I4C, who developed some quite smart ways of automated data analytics. We were one of the first customers from I4C, and over these last 3 years, we developed a quite interesting like solution for monitoring medium-sized and even very big scale wind operations. So we at IMWIND, we operate 450 megawatts. So I think in the US terms, it's quite small. But for Austria, this is quite a significant number of wind turbines that we are operating. And we learned a lot that operation of these wind turbines takes some effort, and is not like learned and done within one day to the next. Maybe I just start with a status quo where I see the industry at the moment. It's important to know that, and also in February in another Leadvent event, I gave a talk about the general aspects of digitalization and where I see the industry, and that's basically the picture. The operators are focusing on data acquisition, live data monitoring, and visualization, and still are taking care of the data management. And the focus of the service companies themselves is about field actions and how they can cope with all the problems that there are on site. And in my idea, I created the three pillar way of looking at the tasks of an operator. So I have as one pillar the second level SCADA systems that are taking care of real-time data flow and historical data flow. Sometimes they're the same, sometimes they are different. And then another pillar is taking care of the master data management for wind and hydro. So this is more the ERP systems and things like that. And then we have a lot of process data where things that you learn from your second level SCADA data combined with the master data need to be like transported out to the field technicians and everything around that. So this is where I see the industry at the moment. And during very interesting other presentations today, I learned that also other people have understood that digitalization is actually adding value services to these centralized systems of each customers, because the centralized system should at the end only be a data hub, and by APIs it can communicate to every other system that can add actually more value to the data. And this is how we at IMWIND see or how we were able to convert data into value using the I4C services. Basically, like I said before, everyone is struggling to get data and get the data into a centralized system. So we have the task of data acquisition, something that IMWIND was taking care of. We had the task of data management. Again, this is a core task for operational management, and then monitoring and visualization. So what is happening now at this point of time in your fleet? Is every turbine operational or not? Do you need to organize a service team going somewhere? And then we have another part of this data value chain where you have to analyze this historical data that you have accumulated in your databases and data warehouses. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because you can have a lot of cool tools doing a lot of cool stuff, but at the end, when this is not fully automatic and a fully automatic task, then you will end up investing a lot of time into this topic, and it might be just too much time so that you cannot cope with the workload. And this is exactly where this I4C value offering is was helping us. This value proposition was helping us to organize ourselves in order to get scalable data analytics into our organization. And then again, another part that is often forgotten, it's not enough to analyze the data and to have some findings, but you have to put it back into the processes. So you need to make sure that this knowledge that was generated during this data analytics is also inputted into the regular process of asset management. And of course, the asset management then decides whether it needs to be outsourced to a service company. So the last part of this road from data to value is to convert these tasks and analytics ideas into actual field actions. Without them, they're cool tools and cool things where you've learned a lot about your wind turbines, but unless you really send someone on site and do something about it, you do not generate any value. And that's where we see that this value proposition, where you can use the I4C services not through the whole value chain, but in parts of the value chain, and that they can really contribute a lot to your business case. And how is this achieved? So together with I4C, we developed some kind of best practice monthly process that helped us at IMWind a lot in order to make sure that these findings can really be converted into actionable items and then really into field actions, and afterwards they can be rechecked if the success was there. And one thing that we also learned during this process is that it's sometimes not enough when a computer tells you that there is some findings. It's always good when a human expert is part of that call that can say, okay, in this case we see it like this and that, and this human is somehow using augmented intelligence with very cool software tools in the background. But you as an operator, you're really interested in human interaction, and that's one of the key success factors. So we have established a monthly meeting together with the experts from I4C where we talk about the findings. It's not taking a lot of time. It's only about 1 hour per month, and then you really make sure that everyone is on the same page. Then another thing that really helped us and was not there from the start, obviously, we were really driven by the idea that we only have a limited time resource in our organization, and we only want to focus on the most important things. So giving a priority to results from the I4C side was one of the key success drivers that we were able to really act upon the findings. Without priorities, you get overwhelmed with information, and you don't know at the end of the day what you should do with all of that. Then, last but not least, so another very important thing is that we didn't want to implement new ways of data acquisition. So we wanted to use the tools that were already in place. So because we really think that we mastered the whole data collection up to a level where it is very much suiting the business cases of IMWind, and we were also really good in organizing our work with the master data using the software tools over the last 10 years. And we said, okay, we don't actually want to adapt to new software in order to unlock automated data analytics. It was for us really more the idea to buy only an add-on to our existing data pipeline, and this was exactly where we had a very good fit with the I4C offering. And yeah, and so another thing that is very important is that I4C themselves, they also have pretty good data analysts and digital strategists sitting around, and they are basically offering you to outsource activities when you in your own organization do not have time to go deeper in an analysis, because you're like working on other projects, such as constructing new wind farms, or making sure that the power is marketed correctly. So all the things that are also very much needed, you can just say, okay, this month I just need a couple of days from you as a support, and then that's really beneficial, because it's very natural to collaborate in that way. And which are the topics that are addressed using these I4C tools? I think some of them are going in the direction that we heard in talks before. So I might quote this I4C Live, where we also try to analyze how long are the major components of our turbines going to last, and we can optimize our spare part management with that application. So it's a bit in the direction, like I heard from ZF in one of the talks before, that I really appreciated. Then we also learned a lot that this simple rule in data science, sheet in, sheet out, always applies. So in order to make sure that there is no crap coming into the processes, I4C developed this I4C data check part of the solution, where you are really sure that only data that is meaningful will be analyzed. Another heart of the software of the system is this I4C performance app, which really gives us at IMWind the perfect insight about power curves. I've seen so many power curve plots throughout my working history. I even made my own LiDAR measurement campaigns, and I did all the calculations according to the IC standards. But I can really tell you what I see, and the speed in which I get the results from this I4C performance is really mind-blowing. You get turbulence corrected data and things like that, where it's really needed in order to understand if you have a long-term negative trend, for example, on your power curve. But I will go a bit deeper in that a little later. Then the I4C flow, as we know, digitalization is basically leveraging on the API systems from different systems. I4C flow is basically the API system that allows you to feed in to ERP systems, to other asset management software, so that you have a digital process behind this monthly talk. Then we have a gear drive that monitors our gearboxes, and I4C heat that basically looks at everything, like every heat signature of your turbine, and compares them. The interesting thing is, it's not purely machine learning. There are really physics-based methods behind that. So something that we as engineers also very much appreciate, because having a black box is not always easy to then explain to someone why this should be a finding and that not. But let me go a little bit into more a use case and not a general aspects that we're doing. So at IMWind, we're using Buck's Energy software products called Energy Studio Pro X and Asset Stack. Both of them are taking care of this whole three-pillar concept. So we have Energy Studio Pro, which is our second-level SCADA system, which is really a tremendous software when it comes to real-time visualization, alarm management. So everything is there that you can imagine, I guess. You can integrate basically every asset. You can integrate basically basically all technologies from wind to solar to water to geothermy. So everything that you might see in the renewable sector. And then we have the software called Asset Stack, which is our master data management tool, and also our process data management tool, so where we can do offline inspection with our smart devices in taking pictures and having reports ready when we leave the turbine, and also where we can send work orders and commercial orders. So it's a mixture between probably SAP and other softwares out there, and it's working perfectly together with the Energy Studio Pro. Of course, it's focused on the renewable sector. And then there are some common tools that can use the data from all of both systems. So we have a very strong automation software behind that called Business Rule Engine, and the reporting tool, a lot of cool dashboards. So everything that you expect to have in operation of renewables, we already had in our software, but we were missing one piece of the puzzle, which was the automated data analytics. So and how does I4C do it? I4C pulls the data that they need for their analysis, which is also SCADA data. So we're talking about 10-minute averages and signals that you anyway have stored in your databases. They can retrieve this data via the ESPX API system, and then the results are, at the end of this analytics process job, are fed or pushed back into Asset Stack, again using the Energy Studio Pro X API service. Let me go into one of the use cases. So using typical old style data analytics, we all probably that have visualized power curves of wind turbines have seen these kind of pictures. You have a lot of scatter, and this scatter is not filtered out correctly, and it basically ruins your average curve. And as a trained operator, you would say, okay, maybe I had some icing, maybe had some smaller problems, but in general, this turbine's power curve that I see based on the scatter plots is okay. I wouldn't go into too much detail about that, because it's something that you will often see, and given that you have limited time resources. So apart from that is time consuming to plot all of these power curves and to look at them, you will understand that the root cause analysis, what causes this scatter, is very time consuming, and you don't see any it's like KPI that tells you, okay, this power curve is okay or this power curve is not okay, and therefore it's not really a tool to really monitor the performance of your assets. And how do we do it now? So now in our monthly process, what you see now is a picture of our Asset Stack instance, where you see I get a lot of incidents seen by I4C. I picked one of them that I want to show in detail. So I just click on that, and then a window appears where I say I instantly see, okay, which was the time period. So it's a pretty recent picture. You will see that there is a diagnosis. So you have an unexpected amount of short stops on the turbine. This is indicating an intermittent fault. And then also a recommendation, check the event logs if there is any evidence for that. But let us see a little bit more. So you see here a document section as well. When I click on these documents, another browser window will appear with the actual analysis that I received from I4C, where I see so we have four graphs that we see here. On the top left, we see an energy change. If there is a significant change to the positive or the negative from the power curve that we see in the graph to the right, which is the comparison of the long-term reference power curve with the current power curve. This is actually the heart of the I4C performance application, where you say, I need to filter out everything that is something that can distract me of the real performance of my asset, and only the points that are really visualizing the real performance of your assets need to be analyzed against the long-term reference. And why do we do that? Because when you, for example, have some kind of pitch misalignment that was introduced into your turbine after maintenance, you will never see it unless you have a very, very clear and detailed view of your power curve. So therefore, we need to have the cleanest power curve ever possible. And on the bottom left, you see the scatter plot that I showed you before, but now a meaningful one. So now you suddenly have gray dots, magenta dots, blue dots, a lot of gray dots, and another piece of black dots, and all of them get different labels. And that's very important because now at the first look, you will see this is not really typical, because I have a lot of short stop events. This is also what was flagged before. These short stop events are actually a byproduct of the I4C performance analysis, which would indicate the turbine's performance is doing well, but still there is something fishy about this turbine that you should evaluate a little bit deeper. You also see this here in this waterfall chart, where you see that the short stops are really contributing a lot of also of downtime to your turbine. Or these operation states. Yeah, the problem about these short stops is you will not see them in the actual real-time monitoring, because these fault events, they only last a millisecond or something like that, and then the turbine goes back into a startup mode, which is not flagged as any kind of fault. So the turbine would really mask those events. Yeah, this is basically what I just recalled, only in writing. And then so the thing how we try to establish the work together with I4C is that we always have a very clear problem description. In this case, we have an abnormal amount of short stops, and we should go into more detail. And this going into more detail can either be done, as I said, by I4C data analysts when you don't have the time, or in our case, we did it on our own. We checked the turbine logs, and we understood that there is a problem with the local grid, with the wind farm electrical grid, where we saw that there was the power protection settings were a little bit off for one of the turbines, and that caused these frequent overvoltage effects. And together with that, with this knowledge, you have a very clear financial impact. What is this costing your turbine? On the one hand side, you can evaluate what is the actual cost of this failure mode that you're seeing. In our case, it was 75K per year, because this behavior would not disappear on its own. It's something that you really need to work on. And on the other hand side, if you try to analyze all the power curves from our assets, it would take at least 40 hours per month. So another 38Ks that you can basically save by using, or it's maybe not a saving, because a fraction of that you might need to pay to I4C. But the analytics alone, even if you cannot find something, is worth a lot of money. and then by freeing you from this burden, you can really focus on different things. And the action plan was we started a root cause analysis investigation. We saw we analyzed what can we do about it, and then we had a very clear investment plan based on the actual financial impact of the situation, and we had to exchange one of the switch gears to one with a better power meter, and then everything was back to normal for this site, and this paid off after 1.5 years. So what are the key success drivers of this partnership between InWind and I4C? On the one hand side, it was the easy onboarding. So there was the actual setting up of these API calls was done in no time. We just needed to hand the documentation and the API key to I4C, and basically in the next month the analytics services were working. Since it is fully automated service, you can process 10 megawatt as well as 10 gigawatt. So you have a really scalable solution at hand. From our point of view, it is affordable. The I4C services have a very fair price model. So for us, it was really a no-brainer. Because basically when you have these 40 hours per month for structured data analytics in the back of your mind, you don't need to pay that amount to anyone. It's even a fraction of that, and still you can leverage on the effects. It is very efficient. So we always had the problem that we knew we want to have a good data analysis in our fleet, because we really believe that structured data analysis is the success to the key to a successful operation of wind assets, and not overlooking anything important. And with I4C, we were able to not focus on finding issues, but focusing on fixing issues, which is something I really appreciate. And we like the partnership approach, so it's very interesting also for the people, for the data scientists at InWind, that they can now focus on the really interesting data analytics activities that may not be so easy to be automized, but they still know that the standard checks are done, and then they can really focus on different things. And
we have only a minute left, so
that's basically it.
Okay, thank you.